After I left her, we were both crying. I went to the river and contemplated. What is real beauty? Real beauty is the love of the heart. Real beauty is not simply the external features that are ever changing in a person. And if only we can connect to that beauty within ourselves and connect with that beauty within others, then there is real relationships, deep relationships, spiritual relationships. I went further and met one sadhu named Kailash Baba. He was a huge man, probably about 6'5". He was a mountain of a sadhu. He was in his late 60s, I think. People told me he was hundreds of years old, but he looked like he was in his late 60s. He was living in the jungles since he was 12 years old. And he took me in like a father to a son. And he taught me how to live in the jungle. What leaves and herbs and fruits you can eat. If you get sick, what medicine you can take. Just in the forest. How to beg with integrity. How to honor and respect the sun, the moon, all kinds of other people. How to love and respect our neighbors in the forest, which were leopards, wild boar, wild elephants, panthers, scorpions, cobras, and lots of mosquitoes. He was telling me these wild animals, like the leopards and the cobras, if you fear them, they will attack you and you will die, because they're all over the place. But if you love them and respect them, the soul within them, and you give them their space, then they will give you your space and you will live as neighbors. He said, I've been doing it for 50 years. This was a crash course. Because as he was telling me, there were snakes and there were cobras and there were leopards. I learned so much from him. The interesting thing, he didn't speak a word of English and I didn't speak a word of Hindi. But he taught me through his gestures, through his glances. And I realized then that real teaching is heart to heart. If a teacher genuinely, deeply cares to benefit the student, then that can cross beyond all barriers, even language barrier. The communication is of the heart, because there was concern. I was eager to learn, and he deeply cared about me. Eventually, after traveling the Himalayas, I came down to the plains, and I went to Bodh Gaya, the place where Buddha reached enlightenment, and meditated under the tree that Buddha sat under, and learned from Zen Buddhist masters and Tibetan Buddhist masters and Zen and Burmese Buddhist masters. And then I went to Calcutta, where I stayed with Mother Teresa for some time. And then I traveled across for a meditation course in Mumbai. In those days, it was called Bombay. And I was meditating about 12 hours a day in this little hut with a Buddhist meditation teacher. And one day I just decided to walk. So I just walked and walked and walked. I was barefoot, wearing the same old robes that sadhu gave me a year before. And I was walking and walking and walking. It was very crowded streets, very busy. And I came to a stoplight, and I saw a giant sign that said, it was advertising a spiritual festival. So I went. And it's a long story, but I'm just going to come to the end of it. I met some of the people there, and they were very friendly and very nice, and they said their guru was speaking in the evening. So there was a giant tent in a park in downtown Mumbai called Cross Maidan. And about 20,000 people gathered in this tent. And I was really shy in those days. I still am, but I kind of pretend I'm not sometimes. And I was in the very back of 20 to 30,000 people. Some people say there were 30,000, some say there were 20,000, and I just know it was a massive crowd. And everyone was sitting on the ground, and then there was a stage, and there was chanting, and then the guru came on the stage. He just illuminated all directions with humility and with wisdom. There was just so much grace in him. He greeted the whole crowd, and there was chanting going on. And he called over one of his assistants and said something in his ear. Then that assistant went to the edge of the stage and started signaling for somebody to come. He was going like this, but nobody came. Then he came down and went into the crowd all the way to the back. He walked right up to little me. We were just minding my own business in the back corner. And he took me by the hand and said, Srila Prabhupada wants you to sit with him. I said, how does he know me? And he didn't give me any answer. He just pulled me. And as you could see from whatever I've said so far, I was quite pullable in those days. So he just pulled me through all these thousands and thousands and thousands of people and brought me right up to the stage. And brought me right up to the Guru, Srila Prabhupada, who so warmly and compassionately welcomed me and invited me to sit not far from him. And that was the first meeting with my beloved spiritual master. I stayed with him for about 14 days, but I didn't accept him as my guru. My heart was saying, this is your guru. But my mind and intelligence were saying, no, you have to go and see more. So I took leave of him, and he blessed me in such a special way. And I went down to Ganesh Puri, where I live with Swami Muktananda. And then I went up to Dharamshala, where I lived with the Dalai Lama. And I went so many other places. And I'm going to tell you one more story. Do I have time, or is it ended?